Parker Town Council meeting at 7:08 PM. Council, please sign in. All council members are present with the exception of Councilwoman Amy Holland. I almost said Debbie Holland. It's so hard every time I have to physically look at everyone to make sure I don't screw up everyone's names. All right, special presentations. Do we have any special presentations tonight? We do not. All right, then let's go ahead and move on to the Parker Chamber of Commerce updates. I see a couple people from the chamber here, and they're both in Parker Days attire, which means one click above complete crazy hair on fire, all that. Do you guys have any updates?
Yep.
Oh, I totally skipped the most important part. Hold on, the Pledge of Allegiance.
Oh.
Geez, I was rocking and rolling. It's because we don't have any kids in the room. Normally when we've got little kids in the room, we have them come up. Chris Hudson, you're the closest to the kid in the room, aren't you? You're like 12, 14? All right, since we don't have any kids in the room, if you'll join me in honoring our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Wow, I think in 6 years, that's the first time Yeah. All right, now we'll get to Parker Chamber of Commerce updates. Come on down.
Our apologies for the fancy dress code tonight.
It's Parker formal.
So we are going to show a couple things here if we can.
Okay. Can we get the overhead turned on?
Okay. All right. Front, back. So let's do this. Oh, okay. We just take.
Well, thank you for letting us go a little bit off the normal path tonight on business affairs so much, but talk about some of the cool things happening in our community. Parker Days Festival, the 41st Parker Days that our community's had. And I asked this question at our kickoff meeting this year we had with all the town department heads. So if I can just take a quick survey of elected officials and the people in the room, raise your hand if you lived in Parker in 1977.
One.
Carol.
One. I knew that answer.
Yeah, that's just a given.
Okay. That's the year Parker Days started. So Parker Days was here before all of us but Carol. And so as we look at Parker Days, it's a cool community event that's grown over the years. It started with one tent down in the Wells Fargo parking lot. There was 1 year from all the historians that have told me that helped move the one tent that was across Parker Road on the west side of Parker Road that you got flooded out, and they basically moved the entire Parker Days event, the tent, across Parker Road and moved it over to O'Brien Park, and it was there ever since. So it goes back to 1977. Parker Days this year is, I think, on steroids as far as a lot of cool new things. You know, we try to shake it up a bit each year, and Lael's doing some amazing things. So I'm really just doing the intro tonight. I'm going to have Lael share all the fun stuff.
Smart
with
move.
you. But before, I'm going to have her do a walkthrough of kind of a quick layout of the land and a lay of the land, and then also some of the new things. And then at the end, we have one show and tell item to share with you. So
Okay.
Mike has a sneak preview of our show and tell item.
Oh, yeah.
So with that, Lael, I'll let you explain what we have here.
Okay.
Yeah, let's try to do this.
I'm short.
They can see.
Okay. So I'll start with West Parker Days. Nothing has changed too much in this area as far as O'Brien Park, Main Stage, Carnival Hill, up to the east side. We do have a couple new areas. We are utilizing the gazebo this year. We'll have dance lessons from Fred Astaire. Air Lounge, which is a Colorado-based company here at the corner, will be having an air lounge area and also selling those air lounges here at Parker Days. And then if you continue down East Parker Days, we have, of course, the streets lined with our vendors, our exhibitors. And then moving into the 20-mile parking lot, our Pikes Peak stage area, we have our beer and wine slushies area in there, as well as our Pikes Peak stage, which is free live entertainment Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then right across the street at the chamber, we have our information booth. And then directly right across the street in the Music on Main Street parking lot, we are introducing our first wine and whiskey tasting garden, which we're excited about.
You have to say that a lot slower. Wine and whiskey.
tasting garden. This will be fun because it gives the opportunity for local wineries too here in the local Parker area. Wine Barrel and Purgatory will be there. So that's giving them the opportunity to be showcased at Parker Days in front of 250,000 people. We'll also have, we're excited, the Parker Tap House Distillery will have their whiskey highlighted in that garden as well. So we're really proud about that. This will be a tasting garden, so it'll be highlighted Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for tasting times. We'll also have a couple food vendors in there, but that'll just give a nice shaded area in there as well as the opportunity for obviously the tasting garden. And this will be highlighted with some music on Main Street, live music from their patio. And then just continuing east down that street, of course, we've got the community stage highlighting all community acts. This year we're excited. We've got yoga on Saturday and some different types of featured venues through the community stage. And then right across from that, which Dennis highlighted, we are excited for this year. Overwhelmingly, we heard obviously last year with the increase of the footprint for Parker Days, it was hard to kind of traverse from east to west. So we've have 7 sponsored pedal cabs, which will be completely complimentary to all attendees, helping you transfer from east to west, north to south, parking lot to different opportunities throughout Parker Days, which we're excited about. And that'll be actually Friday all the way through Sunday throughout the weekend. And then this year we have moved our food truck alley from Pine Drive to Main Street. So that'll be let's see, it'll be on the east side of the median so that lines can form into the street there. And that'll actually have 10 food trucks this year throughout the weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then across the street from that in the old Parker Water and Sand building, we're excited to bring the Colorado Avalanche street hockey, which is an amazing opportunity for Parker Days to be able to, we are their first festival to partake in, and this will actually be street hockey games all throughout the weekend starting Friday. Every child that participates in a street hockey game will then walk away with a Colorado Avalanche hockey stick as well as a hockey ball, and they'll have the opportunity to really bring
older children too? Or
yes,
with
absolutely,
beards,
with beards, and yes. So, and they'll be on site all throughout the weekend as well as with the goal of really bringing youth hockey back in and creating raving fans for the Colorado Avalanche. And then, of course, Potestio Brothers in that parking lot, and then picnic tables with umbrellas in there. And then continuing east on that, we've got Pine Drive highlighting BMX and sports bikes performances, which we're excited about. And then if you just kind of do the L across from the carnival rides this year, we also have introduced a slackline and beer garden in that area, which will facilitate, obviously, international slackline competition. We're excited to kind of partner with the X Games this year, which the GoPro Games, excuse me, which so we will be seeing competitors at Parker Days this year, which will be one day at GoPro and then Parker Days the next day, and they'll be competing for an international slackline opportunity to then compete in the 2028 Olympics, in addition to the BMX sports bike performance area. These will be every hour on the hour, kind of switching off. And then in between there, that blue line, we've got vendors as well. And then we're excited to bring on Monster Beat Boy breakdancing in that area, which will kind of be a fun opportunity. So kids will be breakdancing, and then we'll have actually some huge, big name breakdancing talent coming into Parker this weekend as well. And then, of course, we've got the car show this Sunday as well in the Parker Library parking lot with their vendors and sponsors in there. And then this year we really chose to highlight our parade route on our footprint with that yellow area continuing. We will stage this year as we did last year. We do have a parade start time of 8:45 this year to give the opportunity for some cooler weather, as well as the opportunity for our vendors to kind of have, a couple hours prior to our normal 12 o'clock after the parade time. And again, our Hometown Hero this year theme, which is the theme of our parade, as well as our strong volunteer force for this year. So the parade route will continue as it has, with the exception of turning right on Victorian Drive for first, and then winding around Victorian Drive all the way around, and then continuing down Main Street for Parker Days this year. So thank you for the opportunity.
Excellent. Guys, have any questions about? Yeah.
Do we have socks this year?
Do we have socks? Yes, they do have socks.
New socks are on the way. Yes, they're going to be really cool. They arrive, I believe, tomorrow or Wednesday morning.
Hopefully they won't arrive on Monday.
Correct, yes. And the word on the street is that the 3 gentlemen on the dais have been practicing their BMX moves and their slackline moves. So we're looking forward to that.
I saw a
And can I
slack
just
beer
get a
garden.
confirmation that's 8 8:45 a.m.
That's AM, Debbie, AM, yes.
Debbie generally recognizes 8:45 per day, and that is generally not it.
That's not the, all right, so what's your one surprise you want
One
to
show
show
and
to
tell
everyone?
item. Lael, go ahead.
Okay.
The reason I want her to show this is because I questioned it in the beginning. Once I saw it, I thought, oh, this is a great idea. But that was after she created it.
It's a bobblehead of Dennis.
Yes. Oh, sorry. I just think this is pretty cool because, so what's in this box? I don't know, but we're pretty proud of Parker as a town for everyone. And then when you open it up, it's a very own Parker Viewmaster. So this actually highlights, I believe,
And it's-
12 different slides of all pictures highlighted throughout Parker. So it's everything from O'Brien Park at the holidays
Show it to Debbie, she's the one freaking out up.
to our skate park, to our rail bender skate park, and obviously the ice path and Discovery Park, and just different images all throughout. So those will be sold at Parker Days, and then if we have any left, they'll be sold at the Parker Chamber.
Cool.
All right.
There goes the rest of the meeting, Mike.
Yeah, well, and I was gonna say, who gets the bill for this one, right? Because she's gonna,
We'll leave it up there
Hurts
so you
the
guys
mayor.
can pass it around.
yeah.
Keep in mind, you are on Facebook
All right,
Live,
cool.
though.
Do you guys have, the sock booth, is it gonna be in the same place as it was last year?
Yes, at the
Right,
information
right
booth.
by Vines? At by Fika?
Yes. Yep, very much so. They've got an extra large booth right there.
Sorry.
And the Parker socks are also available at the information booth in front of the chamber office as well.
Okay,
Can I
cool.
buy just one?
Other questions,
Any
guys?
questions?
Nope. All right, thank you very much.
Sorry for disrupting the meeting.
Oh, yeah, yeah, that's true. Josh asked if he gets a discount if he just buys one sock. And half the people in the room have no idea why he's asking that. Josh, can you show him? Or is it gonna take
Josh,
2
I would
minutes?
recommend you wait for our half-price sale.
Yeah, he only has one leg, so that's why he's asking. Like, half the people are like, I don't get it.
have one in that other sheet.
Yeah, you buy two, and then you can have a backup. All right, cool. Thank you very much, guys. All right, next up, we've got our Downtown Business Alliance update. Come on down.
All right, in the spirit of Parker Days,
Very nice.
myself because I was gonna wear the socks.
Ah.
last year. I was really thinking, I gotta put those green socks on that I had on last year. So, anyways, in the spirit of Parker Days, I thought I'd bring everything Parker. I don't know if this is even can be seen. Here,
You got to pull it back to.
I'll pull it this way so everyone behind me can see it too. This is part of our logo branding we're doing for the Downtown Business Alliance. Really, nobody knows what the Downtown Business Alliance is, and ultimately the community doesn't really care. I'm not even at the microphone. But the point is, we are trying to brand downtown Parker in general. So as you can see, the Creative District folded into our downtown Parker, our Downtown Business Alliance. So part of our logo branding, and I can put it here.
There you go.
That's better. And keep this on, because I have a couple things I want to show you. When the meeting started, by the way, I think I overheard our mayor saying something over here about not having a hat. So.
I didn't, but I'll say it. Sure, I don't have a hat. Get a sunburn on my head.
Yeah.
Very nice. Look at that. I got to put this on extra fat head size setting because my noggin's. Look at that. There we go. Still stretch it on a little bit.
And I guess I didn't formally introduce myself. My name is Shelley Mango. I'm the chair of the Downtown Business Alliance, and always super thrilled to be a part of Parker Days. 20 Mile Central is a building that we manage, my husband and I and a group of people, and it's pretty much an island that's trapped during Parker Days, from Vines down to Las Delicias. So, you know, we try to make the best of it, and we have lots of fun with it. And I do want to say, as they're sitting here, that I just want to give a round of applause to Lael Hart, Taylor, and Dennis Houston for all the work in their team, because they do so much. So I'm going to give them a round of applause. I just know how hard that is to put an event like that. 250,000 people coming to our town. It's very exciting. So they've done, every year they surprise us with new events, and it's super exciting. Speaking of events, I only have a couple things I want to bring up tonight. One is I'd like to hone in on this. How do you do that?
If you spin it around, she'll zoom in. Spin it
should I do
180. There you go.
This way?
Yep.
Okay. So if we can, I don't know if you can zoom in any further, but
Bless you.
bottom line is we had our first Friday art walk last Friday night. The Creative District Committee, through the Downtown Business Alliance, pulled off our first art walk. We had 35 artists. If you can see, we expanded this year from the building 20 Mile Central, where you see Vines, Seven Seas, all the businesses, Fika, highlighted, down to Parker Station, and across the street to the old schoolhouse, and then moving back to Music on Main Street, and down the street to Victorian Peaks. It was buzzing for definitely a couple hours down there. It was a beautiful night. It was kind of hot. It was like 90 degrees when we started, so a little hot for the artists, but we'd rather have that than rain and wind, so we're not going to complain. So the first event that we pulled off for June 1st was, fairly successful. We definitely saw a couple things I just wanted to share with the town. Is one, we had volunteers standing at the corner of South Pikes Peak Drive and Main Street on every corner, trying to steer people down to Victorian Peaks. And then when they wouldn't go down, we would ask them, why don't, there were 10 artists, 15 artists actually down in that area. And the primary reason is they said, oh, I don't know, it just, just the sidewalk doesn't look inviting. We heard that 4 times. Just saying. So,
Couple
as
bags of Quick Read.
as a
we can-
Downtown Business Alliance, as a group, we always want to make our whole thoroughfare very inviting, walkable, et cetera. So you may very well see in the near future some push for us to make that more appealing to walk down to Rory's Diner, to Victorian Peaks, to all the great stores and businesses that are along Pikes Peak, where sometimes people just don't see that they can walk down there. But we really tried, and we're going to continue. That'll be our continued path. With that, I just wanted to say that, gosh, I am just I'm so grateful for so many volunteers. Sarah Crow from the Cultural Arts, Teresa from Victoria Marie, Kelly from Beautiful Art, Kathy from Meadowlark, Peggy from Honeywood Home, Chris and his wife Carmen from Cogent, Denise Hack, she's a DBA member that's also an attorney. My husband, Tony, volunteered. Julie Griffith from Aspen Financial. And
Tony
just-
didn't have a choice. He's your husband.
Yeah, he had to. Sorry. He was trying to help sell these hats as well. So, and so many more. I know I'm missing some names, but we couldn't have pulled this off without the volunteers that we had from our DBA and from our community. So just wanted to make sure that everyone knows we have a great community of volunteers. So we hope to have the next one, which is July 6th, as you can see, another success, and then it will run through September, first Friday. We really want to get Parker on the map in the Denver metro area as a great place to come for the First Friday Art Walks. People that follow First Friday Art Walks, for those of you that may know, Santa Fe is a huge one in Denver. Salida is big. Louisville is big. We want Parker to be big eventually. So we're growing, and we're going to keep pushing and trying. So any support we can have from the town and from businesses to promote it, we really appreciate it. Now I want to move on to just our Downtown Parker website. Let me put that here. My printer at home is obviously lacking in blue. For varying reasons. So I apologize for the quality of print. This came straight from my home office. So I just wanted to promote that we now have a lot of content on downtownparker.com. Our acronym is Get Your Beat On in Downtown Parker. B, if you click on B, it's businesses in Downtown Parker. E is eat and drink. A is art and cultural.
Art and theater.
Sorry, I can't even read it from this far. Art and theater. And T is things to do. When you click on the T, the calendar of events pops up. And we are loading content every day right now. So what we really want the beat to be is the place that everyone goes, downtownparker.com, to find out what's happening, specials that are happening with all of our businesses, events that are happening with the restaurants, with our theater, with Pace. Anyone that falls within our boundary, even if they're not a Downtown Business Alliance member, we will still promote their events, because we really want to draw people to pay attention to Downtown Parker and have it not be an afterthought, but have it be the destination to go for fun. So please spread the word about downtownparker.com, bookmark it, when you're on your computer. We also have a Facebook page that's Downtown Colorado as well. Make sure you like that, because we have content going into that all the time. And those are our updates. We're trying to move forward and keep pushing the excitement of our town.
Great, excellent.
any questions?
Any questions, guys?
No?
No? All right, thank you very much, Shelley, appreciate it.
And enjoy your hat.
I dig it. All right, next item up we have is public comment. This is our general public comment for items that are not on our agenda. So if anyone is here for general public comment, there'll be a 3-minute time limit on that. You see there's a clock above me that says 3 o'clock, or 3 minutes, and I've got one across the way as well. 3-minute time limit, no action will be taken on these items. Anyone here for general public comment? This is your time. Seeing no motions, we'll close general public comment at 7:28 and move to reports, items, and comments from mayor and council. How about we start with Mr. Martin?
The only thing, as a former board member and chair of E470, the past chairs serve on their Transportation Safety Foundation. So we got to award somewhere around $25,000 worth of grants this last week. So they'll be doing some press releases, which unfortunately includes my picture. But really nice that they created the foundation under the direction of the board back in 2003, I believe. And so we do some fundraising and then give those out for transportation. So if anybody's watching at home that does, let's say, prom after parties or things involving transportation and safety and those combination of things, there are funds available for that. If you have any questions, you can let me know.
Excellent. Mr. Rivero?
Nothing.
Renee?
Believe it or not, the highlight of my week was today. I had my one-on-one with the town administrator, and
Wow.
I had my liaison meeting with HR and Parks and Rec.
All right. Debbie?
Just from Councilmember Holland, she would like to thank everyone for their condolences and their support. Hopefully, she will be here next week.
Okay. John?
The only thing we have going, Councilmember Williams and I have Planning Commission interviews that will conclude sometime this week, so we should have a recommendation to council here shortly.
All right. Excellent. All right, next item up on our agenda is our consent agenda. Consent agenda items are considered to be routine, will be enacted with one motion and one vote, unless a council member asks to have something removed for further discussion. Council, I do know that we need to pull item 7B because there was some signatures that were still needed that we haven't gotten yet for that item. So I would entertain further discussion or a motion on consent agenda items 7A through 7I with the exception of 7B.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion from Renee and a second from Josh. Council, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Next item up is item number 8. This is our public hearings. First item we have is a motion for reconsideration by Vista South LLC and Mountain Waste South Metro LLC pursuant to CRS 31-12-1162A2. So I'm going to open that public hearing at 7:30 p.m. Just again to kind of go over this, the purpose of the public hearing is to consider any additional information in support of the motion for reconsideration by Vista South LLC and Mountain Waste South Metro LLC filed pursuant to CRS 31-12-1162A2 filed on April 25th, 2018 with the town. The order for tonight's business will be as follows. Town staff's legal counsel will give a brief introduction. Then Vista South LLC and Mountain Waste South Metro LLC will be provided with 15 minutes to make any arguments in support of their motion for reconsideration. Again, the clock is up above me here. I've got one over there as well. I'll set it to 15. I'm not being rude, but when it gets to 0, I'm going to cut you off. And then after that, the petitioners for annexation in the town will be given collectively 15 minutes to respond and provide any additional information for town council to consider regarding the motion for reconsideration. And Corey and staff and the petitioners, same deal. 15 minutes will be up there. Even if you're mid-sentence, when you get to 0, cut off. And I'll even make that sound, just so you're aware, right? All right, and this is not a public hearing, or excuse me, this is not a hearing for which public comment is provided. This is a hearing to consider arguments in support of the motion for reconsideration under the Colorado Municipal Annexation Act. So with that, Corey, we'll ask you to go ahead and start with an introduction, please.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Town Council. The purpose of tonight's hearing is to provide Vista South LLC and Mountain Waste South Metro LLC the opportunity to make additional arguments in support of the motion for reconsideration it filed with you as the Town Council on April 25th, 2018. As you know, the decision to annex was made on April 16th, 2018, based on evidence presented on April 16th, 2018. This is their opportunity to present, quote, with particularity, the grounds upon which judicial review is sought, end quote, pursuant to the Annexation Act. Vista South LLC and Mountain Waste South Metro LLC, as the mayor indicated, will collectively have 15 minutes, and then town staff and petitioners, if necessary, will have 15 minutes to respond. Mr. Mayor, I would therefore suggest you recognize representatives from Vista South LLC and Mountain Waste South Metro LLC to come to the podium and make their presentation.
Absolutely. Please come on forth. Come on forth. That sounded very regal. Come on forth. I need to say that in my stage voice. Anyone who's going to be presenting during these 15 minutes, if you all could come up at first and go ahead and do your name and addresses first before I start the clock. That way it'll give you the most optimal amount of time. So you're not using your 15 minutes to tell me who you are and where you're at. So anyone who's going to be speaking, this is the time. Name and address for the record, please.
Good evening, Mayor Wade and members of council. My name is Scott Eden, and I am the CEO of Mountain Waste and Recycling. My address?
Please.
10100 East 102nd Avenue, Henderson, Colorado, 80640.
Okay.
And Brian Connolly with the law firm of Otten, Johnson, Robinson, Neff, and Raganetti, 950 17th Street, Suite 1600 in Denver. And we represent Vista South and Mountain Waste South Metro.
All right. Just the
Start
two?
ticking?
When you start, I'll kick the button.
All right. So we're here this evening on our client's motion for reconsideration, which was filed pursuant to Section 116 of the Annexation Act. And we are seeking the Town Council's reconsideration of the Grasslands and Prairie Trail annexation that you approved on April 16th, 2018. As you know, our client is the sole non-consenting owner subject to this annexation. And indeed, the record of the Town Council's April 16th hearing makes clear that regardless of the purposes that were stated in the annexation petition and associated land use application, the sole purpose for this annexation was to deprive Vista South from undertaking a use that was permitted by right under its prior zoning in the county. So I'm going to briefly remind the Town Council of the bases of our opposition to this annexation, and then Mr. Eden will come up and give his presentation. So the legal positions were outlined in a hearing brief that was submitted to you at the April 16th hearing. I believe you probably all have copies of that. If you would like, I've brought another large binder in case you need it. And as the Town Council is aware, litigation has been filed in State District Court, and Vista South will continue to pursue its rights under the law. It remains our position that the town's approval of the annexation violated Section 114 of the Annexation Act, which required the town to hold in abeyance any proceedings relating to this annexation once Vista South filed its petition for annexation into the city of Centennial. We do believe that Centennial had a statutory duty to process Vista South's annexation petition, and its failure to do so does not absolve the Town Council of having to follow the clear letter of Section 114. And with all due respect to Mr. Hoffman and Mr. Maloney, the town's attorneys have unfortunately referred to that petition for annexation into Centennial as a sham, which could not be further from the truth. Vista South petitioned to annex into Centennial because that was its only procedural way to protect itself from the town's weaponization of the annexation process. And more importantly, had Centennial followed the procedures that it was obligated to follow, Vista South actually was interested in engaging in discussions with the city of Centennial and locating its use in the city of Centennial. And had Centennial actually annexed the property, Vista South was agreeable to being annexed into Centennial. So the petition was hardly a sham. And in fact, the annexation could just as easily be characterized as a sham as it was done really for the sole purpose of depriving one landowner of its property rights. It also remains our position that the town's approval of PD zoning for this property is a clear violation of the state PUD Act. It requires any landowner that's subject to a new PD to consent to the formation of the PD, and Vista South did not consent. The hearing brief also outlined other defects in the approval as well. Finally, we believe that the annexation sets bad public policy for the town. I have been personal witness with you all to the commendable work that you and your staff have done during a period of rapid growth here in the town. You've balanced the entitlements of landowners with mitigation measures that ensure that new development does not negatively impact existing businesses and residents. That approach was and still is available in this case. But instead, your action approving the annexation sends a clear message to landowners in and around Parker that their property rights and their careful investments are at risk. If the town is willing to deprive one business of its property rights simply because a few adjacent landowners don't like it, what's to stop the town from doing that to the next landowner and the next landowner and the next landowner? Vista South purchased its property after conducting careful due diligence. The property had been zoned for Vista South's use for 20 years. It intended to construct a state-of-the-art facility that would provide a necessary service to the Parker and Douglas County communities. Vista South looked forward to working with the town, being a member of the Parker business community, and being a responsible business owner here in the community. But through coordinated action with neighboring property owners and a cynical use of the annexation process, the town has thwarted that. So I would encourage you to take our motion for reconsideration seriously, and I respectfully request that the town council reconsider its decision to adopt the annexation ordinance. Scott Eden will now give the remainder of our presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Members of council, Mayor Wade, I've prepared a statement. I'll read it as fast as I can to make sure we're under the time limit. But I want to start by saying I moved to Douglas County in 1993. My children are graduates of Highlands Ranch High School. I was a parent volunteer football coach at Highlands Ranch High School for 4 years. I'm from here. Maybe not Parker, but I'm from Douglas County. My wife and I sold our home in 2010 and moved to Carbondale. That's in Garfield County, between Glenwood and Aspen. We started a trash business. We bought 2 trucks. We took 25 dumpsters up there and went door to door. We did not know a soul in the Roaring Fork Valley. We built a business. Today, that bootstrap operation that we started in 2010 has 218 employees, and we service about 85,000 customers in Aspen, Vail, Breckenridge in Summit County, and here in Denver. Actually, a few in Parker. I bring that up because I want you to understand this is not some frivolous thought on my part, and nor was taking that risk. I am fortunate enough to tell you that I am living what I thought to be the American dream when I was a kid. I built a business from nothing. The tremendous growth of the southern metro area, and particularly the communities in Douglas County, including Parker, lack the necessary infrastructure to deal with the tons of materials that are discarded daily. Just as we've learned that our roads, water supplies, and sewage treatment plants are required to sustain our growth rates, so too is the infrastructure required to deal with what we recycle and what we place in a disposal site. In the fall of 2016, I met with Douglas County staff. They pointed me to 2 parcels of land in Compark, and I guess we all know where those are now, and said this is the only place you can do it, and we know we need it. With that in mind, I purchased the land. I had a use by right. There can be no question that facilities of this type are needed to protect public health. To people who understand the logistics of collecting and processing these types of materials from areas of tremendous growth in the South Metro area, particularly Douglas County, it is clear that such infrastructure is required. This is no different than CDOT contemplating growth along I-25 from Park Meadows Mall to Monument. No different than building and constructing E-470 and redoing the Parker interchange, or any of the other infrastructure requirements that are necessary to service the growth that we enjoy. As many of you are aware, if you travel north, perhaps to go to a Rockies game in the summer, the thing that you find is at 4 or 5 o'clock for a 6:40 start game, the traffic is unbearable on I-25. What you probably don't know is that the recyclables that are picked up at your homes and businesses have to go to a recycling sorting center to be processed. So a truck goes out on the route, picks the stuff up, and then goes to a processing place where the plastic's sorted here and the aluminum there. There are only 2 processing centers in all of Denver. They're both north of I-70 at 58th Avenue. So Grizzly Rose. Full trucks making the trip every day take a little over an hour one way from here. There's no doubt that the state of Colorado has been a little bit behind the ball in terms of setting recycling goals for the state. There are states that have been around that have had laws about recycling goals for over 10 years now, some as long ago as 35 years. Colorado just actually established recycling goals last year. So sometime, somehow, some way, we're supposed to increase our recycling, our diversion from the landfill by 40% in 3 years. It will never happen without facilities like this. It can't possibly happen. Now, you don't know that because you're not in this business. I understand that. I totally understand it. That brings me to Parker's role in dealing with the infrastructure. On June 27, 2017, at an evening Rotary function, I spoke directly to Mayor Wade about Vista South and our plans for a company office, a vehicle maintenance facility, and the much-needed materials management facility. He asked me to send an email to him through the town communications channels so that it could go to all of you. I did that. I sent that letter on June 30th, 2017. It included my office phone number and added that I would be happy to answer any questions. Not one person has ever reached out to me regarding that letter. The next communication came from Mayor Wade as he appeared at a Douglas County Commissioners meeting. Speaking during the beginning of the meeting, Mayor Wade urged the commissioners not to approve our site improvement plan without ever having sought any information as to what we were about to construct or why. The continued and relentless attacks by Parker on Vista South's rightful land use have been well documented by our attorneys previously. They've been mentioned to you tonight. But I feel it important to note, for the record, that I state that Parker has sought to do everything in its power to circumvent the Douglas County process, our due process that we were given by law, to stop our project and to steal our land use rights. With this emergency annexation, Parker's attorneys, your attorneys, left us with no legal option but to seek annexation into another jurisdiction in order for our project to survive. Then, as if splashing acid on the face of a victim, these same attorneys later characterized our one remaining available legal remedy as a sham to the courts. In my mind, it appears that the sham is Parker's. One of the 4 petitioners of this annexation said this on the record during the annexation hearing on April 16th. In closing, quote, "In closing, I would be remiss if I didn't thank Jim Mahoney and Corey for doing, putting a lot of this together." But even more importantly, it's imperative that you as council members should know that these 4 petitioners could have been annexed into Parker without taking my land and my land use. A careful review of the record of Parker's predatory actions in continually trying to preemptively shut down Vista South demonstrates that the emergency annexation itself was the true sham. So as a property owner with probably $3.2 million invested so far, not a big corporation, a local Colorado homegrown business that is very, very proactive in recycling landfill diversion, and you know in your heart you need a facility like this down here somewhere. I want to point this out. I met with town staff twice. 2 times, they said, if we could work with Douglas County staff to figure out where you might go alternatively, would you be okay with that? And I said, yes. Crickets. Not one return phone call. No expectation of anything. I never heard from them. I have a lot of questions about the whole process, I think that probably the most important thing that I can say to you right now is what's different about the rule of law and previous longstanding land use agreements that are used as reasons for this council in this very chamber, which I have been sitting here and listening to in the past, to approve yet another apartment complex in Parker or a controversial facility, maybe a halfway house in a subdivision, where your attorneys make sure to tell everyone in the room that you are bound to obey the law. Yet your same attorneys, in my opinion, and I'll say it's an opinion, made a specific overreach to take away my land use rights, not even in your jurisdiction. And you didn't have to annex my property to answer the request of the petitioners. Who's the next lawful property owner to become a victim of Parker? Why do you think it's an important thing to choose winners and losers? This annexation was no emergency, and it certainly sends a message to landowners everywhere that Parker has opened a new door for local government behavior. Parker has weaponized annexation to take land use rights away, even if the land is in another jurisdiction and subject to that jurisdiction's own laws. Some people with conservative values fear a repressive national government. I've come to realize that local government is of greater concern to liberty and the rule of law. And you've taught me that lesson. I'm angry. And I will do everything in my power to stand up for principle that we all used to believe in America. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. You've got another minute and 15 if there's anyone else wishing to. Nope. Okay, so we'll go ahead and end that. Let me reset the. All right, so next up we have representatives from the petitioners and town staff. If there's any presentation that they wish to make, this would be the time to come up and name and address for the record. Okay. Okay, Corey, since we know who you are when you start, you don't need to do your name and address. When you start, I'll start the clock.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Town Council. I am appearing this evening on behalf of town staff. First of all, I just want to respond briefly to what Vista South LLC and Mountain Waste South Metro LLC indicated with the following. The purpose of tonight's hearing is for them to present with particularity the grounds upon which judicial review is sought. I would suggest that much of what you heard was attempting to supplement a record that was already created on April 16th, 2018. So to the extent that they are simply trying to present new evidence about the facility, that's improper. However, to the extent they were making argument about why you should reconsider your decision, that is certainly proper. And on behalf of town staff, we would simply reinforce that based on what was provided to you on April 16th, 2018, both in terms of the presentations by the petitioners, by town staff, and based on the input of the public, both your annexation and your zoning decision were supported by facts and the law. In addition, I would like the record for this motion to reconsideration to reflect a couple items for town council's information to confirm what's included on Track-It. First, since the April 16th, 2018 public hearing, in which the town approved as an emergency ordinance number 2.259, series of 2018, the town has adopted ordinance number 2.259.1, series of 2018, affirming the passage of ordinance number 2.259. This has been downloaded on Track-It and reflects compliance with section 7.6 of the Town of Parker Home Rule Charter regarding the annexation ordinance. Similarly, since the April 16th, 2018 public hearing, in which the town approved as an emergency ordinance, ordinance number 3.333, series of 2018, the town has adopted ordinance number 3.333.1, series of 2018, affirming the passage of ordinance number 3.333. This has been downloaded on Track-It and reflects compliance with section 7.6 of the Town of Parker Home Rule Charter regarding the concurrent zoning of the annexed property. Finally, I would ask that the court's order dated May 15th, 2018, in Douglas County District Court Case Number 2018 CV 30354, in which the court denied the motion for reconsideration of the court's original order dated April 16th, 2018, filed by Vista South LLC, Mountain Waste, and South Metro LLC, be made part of the record and downloaded on Trackit. That ruling by the court relates back to a motion that was filed by the plaintiffs before the April 16, 2018 hearing, and therefore we would request that that court order be made part of the record. I will tender a copy of the order to the town clerk. And again, this is simply to assure that the town's file and Trackit contains the information in case number 2018 CV 30354 regarding the unsuccessful attempt by Vista South LLC and Mountain Waste South Metro LLC to stop the original annexation hearing on April 16, 2018 from proceeding forward. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, with that, do you guys have any questions? Okay, I'll close the hearing at 7:52 PM. Council, if you do you have any items to discuss or questions before we
Excuse me,
move to
Mayor, do
motion?
you want to ask if the petitioners have any statement they'd like to make?
I did at
I'm
the
sorry.
beginning before Corey came up.
Excuse
And
me.
they all signified by shaking their heads no. So thank you very much. Council, any items to discuss before I call for a motion? Seeing none, then we have two items, two motions on this, for a motion to continue and take the matter under advisement and issue a decision on the motion by June 11th, 2018.
I move that the town council take the motion under advisement and defer making a decision until June the 11th, 2018.
Second?
We have a motion by Josh Rivero and a second by Josh Martin. Council, please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
I move that town council hold a special meeting on June the 11th, 2018, in order to issue a decision on said motion.
Second?
We have a motion by Josh Rivero and a second by Josh Martin. Council, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Next item on our agenda is item number 9A. This is for ordinance number 4.114.1 on second reading. This is a bill for an ordinance amending the vertical and horizontal alignment of the grade of Kings Point Way from the Cottonwood Drive intersection to approximately 850 feet north of Cottonwood Drive intersection. Mr. Hudson, wearing his white shirt but his engineer blue tie, will be leading the presentation tonight.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. As you stated, we have an amending ordinance in front of you tonight, number 4.114.1. It was approved on October 16th, 2017, the original ordinance, and as we got into the design of Kings Point Way with the adjacent development, the Vantage Point development, it was determined that we needed to amend the profile of the road up on the northern limits of what's in the town of Parker to prevent some conflicts with a petroleum products pipeline on the west side of the roadway alignment. And with that, in front of you tonight, you have the information needed to amend this ordinance that was approved last year, and I'll answer any questions you might have.
Okay. Council, any questions for Chris?
Nope.
Nope. Let's go ahead and open it up for public comment at 7:55 PM. If there's anyone here wanting to address council on vertical and horizontal alignment grades, hey, for a bonus that deals with a petroleum pipeline, come on down. All right, seeing none, we'll close public comment at 7:55. I guess we're still rolling timer too. Let me set my timer off here. There we go. And I would entertain further discussion or a motion, please.
I move to approve ordinance number 4.114.1 on second reading.
Second.
We got a motion by John and a second by Debbie. Council, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Next item up is item 9B. This is ordinance number 5.06.40 on second reading. This is a bill for an ordinance repealing section 12.02.120 and amending chapter 8.07 of the Parker Municipal Code by the addition of new sections 8.07.100 and 8.07.110 concerning unauthorized camping on public property and sitting and lying down in public right-of-way. Doreen, the floor is yours.
Yeah.
You can bring your bodyguard down with you too.
Yes. We're a team. We go together.
We got to put the little thing in your ear though, and then you kind of go, you got to talk. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so this ordinance you have in front of you is broken down into two parts. The first one being unauthorized camping on public property. The legislative intent for this portion of the ordinance is to protect public health, safety, and the welfare of the town and its residents by prohibiting undesirable activities or conduct on public property which may substantially interfere with the public's use and enjoyment of such public places. This is about public safety and addressing unsanitary conditions on public property to consider trash, human waste, drugs, and drug paraphernalia. So for this ordinance, it shall be unlawful for any person to camp upon any public property except in a location where camping has been expressly allowed pursuant to a permit or as otherwise authorized by the town. No officers of the Town of Parker Police Department shall issue a citation, make an arrest, or otherwise enforce the section against any person unless the person fails to leave after being provided written notice. In addition, the officer will attempt to ascertain whether the person is in need of medical or human services. And if so, they'll make sure that they provide those. This ordinance also provides details for cleanup of unauthorized campsites. In terms of camping, most jurisdictions already have a camping ordinance in place. For example, Parker has an ordinance in place since 1989 prohibiting camping in parks and open space. The proposed ordinance expands the camping limitation to all public property. Please note that it does not apply to private property. Additionally, a district court judge recently upheld a similar Boulder ordinance regulating camping, what was initially adopted in 2001. In other words, camping in urban areas has been a regulated activity for several years by most jurisdictions. It should be noted the town is not criminalizing camping as evidenced by the ordinance requiring advanced notice and attempting to provide assistance to campers, including a reasonable opportunity to retrieve personal property that are left on public property. Again, the intent of this ordinance is to protect the public health, safety, and welfare of the town and its residents. The second part of this ordinance addresses sitting or lying down in the public right-of-way. Intentionally blocking, obstructing, or interfering with the safe or free passage of a pedestrian or vehicle by any means in high-traffic areas, including unreasonably causing a pedestrian or vehicle operator to take evasive action to avoid contact, is a public safety concern without regard to the speech of the individual who's intentionally blocking, obstructing, or interfering with the safe or free passage of a pedestrian or vehicle, and that such conduct should be regulated to address the public safety concerns by individuals taking evasive action to avoid such contact. Therefore, it'll be unlawful for any person to sit, kneel, recline, or lie down upon the surface of any public right-of-way or upon any bedding, chair, stool, or any object placed upon the surface of the public right-of-way, with specified times provided. This ordinance also provides several affirmative defenses. Therefore, with regulating public right-of-ways, this ordinance applies equally to someone asking for directions as it does someone asking for money. Several jurisdictions have taken different approaches to deal with these public safety issues. Most jurisdictions have some sort of regulations that deal with conduct that interferes with the public right-of-way. One consequence of not addressing this issue in Parker is that this type of conduct may become more prevalent here. That is all. Do you have any questions?
That is all.
Very thorough.
Wow. Council, any questions? I like that. That is all.
That is all.
All right. We'll go ahead and open it up for public comment at 8:00 p.m. if there's anyone here to address council on this item. And that is all. There is no movement, so we will close public comment at 8:00, and I'll entertain further discussion or a motion, please.
Move to approve ordinance number 5.06.40 on second reading.
Second.
We have a motion by Josh and a second by Renee. Council, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. With that, we will we will recess our council meeting at 8:00 p.m. and reconvene our executive session next door.